everyone, and welcome to The Insider, the ongoing video series that keeps you up to date on everything independent pro wrestling. I am the voice of IPW, J-Rod. Something was in the air at Power Play. Everyone was fighting like their lives depended on it. The show started off with a bang. The last real man, Silas Young, challenged for the IPW Championship against the specimen Chad Alpha. Silas is a world-renowned talent, and we knew we would see this match eventually. The experience of Silas was on full display, as it looked like he had an answer for every one of Alpha's moves. But just as Silas brought experience, Alpha brought heart. Alpha outlasted Silas Young and nailed it with the jackhammer to retain the title. Chad Alpha was interrupted by the former champion, Jamal King, meeting for the first time since their ladder match. King congratulated Alpha and shook his hand. King told Alpha that he would be willing to earn his rematch, then asked Alpha if his win over Dior Nolan's last weekend was enough. Before Alpha could answer, they were interrupted by arguably the greatest IPW champion of all time, the returning Jack Price. The Black Diamond said he is back in IPW for one reason, to regain the title that he feels is rightfully his. Jamal King suggested a match between the two in our main event. The winner to challenge Alpha for the gold at Grave Danger. Price agreed and the match was set. Elijah Eros took on the Apex athlete CJ Cole in a match between two men who both could be future IPW champions. CJ Cole took the win. Despite Lil Missy campaigning for a shot at the Women's Championship, Mackenzie Black granted the shot to Thunder Kitty LaFleur instead. The Honey Badger was not going to just lay there and take it though. Missy crashed the party and brought an ally, the valet of Jack Price, Pepper Pride. The singles match was switched to a women's tag team match, and the Honey Badger, Lil Missy, made a huge statement, crushing Mackenzie Black with the pounce for the win. There is no better way to prove that you deserve next than pinning the world champion 1, 2, 3 in the center of the ring. And what a debut for Pepper Pride, by the way. A four-way match was next, and the winner would get a shot at Cyber champion LaDon Sanders later in the evening. The match featured tag team champion Mondo Real, Jack Sirius, Dante Xavier, and a returning Remnar Gunlock. The fans were torn between the three-hearted member and the Youper throughout the match until Mondo Real injured his knee and had to be carried out of the match. Remnar was able to lock in the sharpshooter and pick up the submission victory and a match for the Cyber Championship later on. Before he could recover though, LaDon Sanders came out and said, "If we're doing this right now." As tough as them Youper boys are, that was way too much of an ask, and LaDon Sanders was able to put Gunlock away handily. But Remnar had something to say to Sanders about it after the show.
Jeepers criminy. LaDon, you used to be a stand-up guy with some good chicken. I'd pass up some of my favorites for your fried chicken. I'd pass up fish fries, I'd pass up woodcock, I'd pass up all sorts of stuff. I passed up pasties just to help you out. And you go and do this to me? I get a shot at your title. And you come in right after my match and make me cash that in? I want a fair shot. I think you're scared of a Uber.
What the hell is woodcock? In our next bout, the Michiana champion survived a scare. Looking for an easy win, Josh Raymond asked IPW matchmakers for a match against Nate Cobain, who was just 0-1 in IPW. While Josh Raymond seemed more interested in being a scumbag to the fans than actually fighting, Nate Cobain showed up looking for an upset and nearly got it. Just like Elijah Eros and CJ Cole earlier in the night, Nate Cobain proved he has what it takes to be a future IPW champion. Tonight wouldn't be his night though, because Josh Raymond once again used that fucking chain wrapped around his fist to get yet another tainted victory. There is no clear number one contender to the Michiana Championship right now. So fortunately for the Ann Arbor fans, Josh Raymond will get to sit this weekend out. But unfortunately for IPW in general, Josh Raymond remains Michiana champion. In the biggest match of his career, Anderson Knight knew that it would take everything he had and the performance of a lifetime to get the win as he took on a former IPW champion, formerly known as Karam, Zico. Zico made it clear to management that if he got the win over a red-hot Anderson Knight, He wanted to be fast-tracked to a matchup against Chad Alpha in what was likely the most violent, hardest-hitting hoss fight in IPW history. Anderson Knight put on the performance of a lifetime that he desperately needed and pulled off the impossible. Respect was earned, and the two shook hands after the match. What a win for Anderson Knight. He's ready for a shot at gold, damn it, at Warzone. Terry Van Avery made his debut as a referee, and after relentless taunting by Brutus Dillon, caused Dillon to lose his match. Afterwards, Dillon brutalized TVA with a chair, landing several thunderous shots to the back and rib area, which Terry has had issues with in the past. Terry challenged Dillon to a match, and Dillon gleefully accepted, thinking he would be too much for Terry, and it appeared that Dillon was right. Dillon smashed Terry from pillar to post the entire match, until Terry absolutely nailed Brutus Dillon with a low blow, resulting in an immediate disqualification victory for Brutus Dillon. Terry made it clear that he wasn't here to win a match though. He was here to get payback. Terry jumped out of the ring, grabbed a chair, and wrapped it around Brutus Dillon's head. While Brutus Dillon won the match, it appears TVA got the last laugh. The long-awaited triple threat match between Invictus, Dragon Jones, and Big Jorge was finally here. Or so we thought. Big Jorge got the microphone and gave a very convincing speech to Jones and Invictus, saying that they shouldn't be fighting against each other, they should be fighting together. Big Jorge told Jones and Invictus that he saw so much potential in them, and he knew that together they could beat Real Hype and become tag team champions. Jorge then welcomed everyone in for a group hug, and the three embraced in the middle of the ring. A new powerhouse trio was formed. During the group hug, though, Big Jorge turned to the camera and winked. Before we could think any more into that, Three Hearted stormed the ring. Jimmy Shalwin told Big Jorge that he respected Jorge's smarts, but if Jorge wanted a fight, they've got one. With Mondo Real's injury from earlier, though, it would be Big Jorge, Invictus, and Dragon Jones versus Jimmy Shalwin and Max Morrison in a 3-on-2 handicap match. Max Morrison told Hype he had nothing to worry about, though, as Max Morrison brought an ally and an old friend that he knew they could trust, Jeremiah Nazareth. A stunned and horrified Jimmy Shalwin immediately protested, but was jumped from behind by the opposition, prompting the referee to ring the bell and start the match whether Shalwin wanted it or not. Throughout the match, Jimmy Shalwin tried to get at Jeremiah Nazareth constantly, causing a lot of issues for his team. At one point, Nazareth had the match won and offered the pinfall to Jimmy Shalwin, and Shalwin missed the chance because he was too focused on keeping an eye on Nazareth. Ultimately, Dragon Jones would make an error, and Max Morrison would pick up the win for his team. Afterward, Max Morrison was disgusted with Jimmy Shalwin's refusal to accept Jeremiah Nazareth, and they almost came to blows. Thankfully, Mondo Real was able to separate them, as Jeremiah Nazareth had a smirk on his face while he left Three-Hearted at ringside. Jeremiah is clearly trying to drive a wedge between Shalwin and Morrison, and hopefully Morrison sees it before it's too late. When the other three finally came to, Jorge and Invictus destroyed Dragon Jones as punishment for losing the match for the team. Or so we thought. As soon as Invictus turned his back, Big Jorge destroyed him as well. That explains that damn wink. Jorge never planned on fighting these guys. This was his plan all along. Well played, Jorge, you son of a bitch. We finally reached the main event. Two of the greatest IPW champions of all time, the infamous Jamal King and the Black Diamond Jack Price, one-on-one, just for a shot at becoming the first ever three-time IPW champion. We knew this would be an instant classic, and it definitely delivered. At one point, Price accidentally super kicked the referee's teeth down his throat, then hit the frog splash, what would have given him the win. But there was no one to count the fall. When a referee finally made it down, Price tried to hit a second frog splash and was caught in the Supreme Lock, which he fought off, but put himself in a bad position. King capitalized while Price's shoulders were on the mat, and it only takes 3 seconds for Jamal King to win the match and get the opportunity of a lifetime. Chad Alpha met King at the curtain to shake his hand and make the match official. Management has intervened in this though. Jamal King has made it known that Chad Alpha did not pin nor submit King, and they want to silence any doubt. That's why their match at Grave Danger 5 on October 19th will be a no disqualification, falls count anywhere match. That concludes this edition of The Insider. Join us on Saturday, October 12th at Holmes Campus in Ann Arbor, Michigan for the annual Peek Out.